Yeah, hi there, Coach. Okay, so we have arrived now at the penultimate chapter for week 3 in planning your season, and this one is about the post-season or the off-season, whichever term you use, and it's about figuring out how you are going to use the off-season to get better for the following season. What are you going to have to do in that off-season to be able to improve your skills, your abilities, your understanding, get more from the game for the next year, and be able to offer more to your players in terms of coaching and being more of a resource for them. So we have the off season, and maybe it's a 4-week period, maybe it's a 6-8 week, I don't know, whatever it is for you. And you've got a really good opportunity here to be able to educate yourself, to be able to give yourself more strings to your bow than you've currently got. And there's some resources that are in this chapter that you're going to be able to use that are really going to help identify for you some of the things that you might want to look into and you might want to develop. And you're going to get some feedback if you use the coaching evaluation sheet that I've produced and send that out to your team, send that out to your parents, send it out to your players, so that you can get feedback on what you can do better. Now, when I first started using this with some coaches, they were very fearful that it would become a type of witch hunt process. And there's always that possibility that you could get the parent that is unhappy with you because you didn't play their son enough. So they'll really stick the knife into you when you send out the coach evaluation report. And here's my feeling on that, is that this report is for your development only. It's for you to get a look at what the reflection in the mirror, if you like, of what the parents think of you as a coach. So if you've got a parent that gives you feedback that you're not a great coach, that you haven't communicated very well, that you haven't been fair, what I do, or what I would suggest you do, is you look at that and you ask yourself, what can I learn from this? Because if you've got a parent and a player that have had an unpleasant experience with you as a coach, then you have a duty to be able to look at what you could have done better, what you could have done differently, how you could have improved that interaction so that this time next year you don't have that, even if you have a player and a parent that don't play that much. And it's always a tricky situation. It's always one that's very hard to be able to balance, is that you've got the player on the squad. Maybe you've got a squad of let's say you're playing 11v11, maybe you've got 17 players on your team, and there's 6 players that are always subs, and one of them just isn't quite up to it, but they're on the squad because that's where you put them, and they get some playing time but not as much as they want. If you've communicated properly throughout the season, you've done your player evaluations, you've had conversations with the parents, you've given them homework, you've given them tasks to do, and they're still not meeting that benchmark, then my experience says that the parent and the player understand that. They get it. They appreciate the fact that you're spending the time with them, giving them the resources to help them to get better. And if you can do that, if you can spend that time with them and you can give them that information, the chances of you getting a poor evaluation at the end of the season are very small. Remember, the more you can give, the more you can share, the more you can teach, the more you can educate, the less likely it is for there to be these miscommunications or these issues where they're thinking one thing and you're thinking something completely different. So, for me, I never get worried about sending the coaching evaluation sheet out anymore, because I know I'm going to do it at the beginning of the season. So I know that I've got it in the back of my mind that at the end of the season, these parents and these players are going to get an opportunity to evaluate my performance and evaluate what I did. So if I am unnecessarily harsh, or I'm poor in my communication, or I don't give accurate feedback, there's a chance it will come back and it'll bite me on the back end. So it's almost a check and balance for me that I have to maintain my objectivity, because eventually they will get the opportunity to be able to shoot it back to me. One of the other tools that are in here is that you're going to get a season review. So you're going to get an opportunity to look at your season and look at the highlights and the lowlights and figure out, okay, well, what went really well and what can I learn from? And you'll be able to get that onto a tool that will show it really clearly for you as to where your strengths are and where you may have deficiencies, where you might want to focus on some education or some research or some technical aspect of your coaching that maybe needs to be cleaned up. The other thing that you're going to get is an off-season plan. So you'll get the opportunity to decide what books you're going to read, what videos you're going to study, what courses you're going to take, who are you going to talk to about potentially mentoring you and helping you to develop your skills. What other coaching skills can you get that are outside of soccer? You know, maybe you need to figure out how to create a winning mentality. Perhaps you need to work on being better prepared. Maybe your ability to complete evaluations needs to be enhanced. Maybe you want to do a speed reading course so that you can read through books like that. That's definitely one that's on my list, because it takes me ages to go through a book. But maybe there's something that is in your coaching arsenal that you want to add that is outside of soccer. You know, one of the very best coaching seminars I ever took had nothing to do with soccer. It was all to do with golf. But a lot of the principles that I learned from that I now use in soccer, because they're transferable, because I can use them in the same way to help my players to organically learn. So just because it's not a soccer related course or a soccer related training doesn't mean it's not going to have value for you. It will. You just have to think about, how do I apply this in my soccer career? How do I apply it in my coaching? How do I apply it to my players? So yeah, that's some of the tools that you're going to get in this chapter. And then there's some other stuff in here that gives you an indication of what a NWSL player goes through in the off season, and you know what their plan is, what their process is, and you'll see the work that this young woman does to keep herself fit, keep herself ready for when the new season starts. You know, maybe you've got to give your players some off-season homework to do, because technically they're not at the right level. Maybe fitness, they're not at the right level. Maybe to get where they claim they want to go, they need to do 3 or 4 things in that off-season. So, you know, just because you're not playing games and you're not practicing, that doesn't mean that as a coach your job's done. It never ends. So you have to be prepared to put forth effort to help your players to get to wherever they want to get to and where you see them getting to within your team. For me, the off-season is really important, because it gives you a chance to recharge your batteries, because the season is mentally and physically exhausting. It gives you a chance to reflect on the season. It gives you a chance to reflect on your performance. It gives you a chance to reflect on how you interacted with those players and those parents and what you can learn from that and how you can do it better going forward. It gives you an opportunity to decide what further training you might want or you might need. It gives you an opportunity to have conversations with your club or your school and get feedback from them, see how they felt that the season went and what areas for development they see for you. And then you can sit back and you can decide, okay, well, yeah, I see that, and now I'm going to go and do this, this and this to enhance my skills and enhance my reputation. You know, one of the things you might have to do is go and get some US Soccer Federation certifications. A lot of those happen in the off season because that's when coaches are available to go and do them. Maybe you'll have to do some United Soccer Coaching certifications. Again, same thing, they'll happen in the off season when coaches are available to do them. You know, maybe there's other courses you can go and take that are going to help you with your coaching, as I've already said. So, you know, the off-season planning is really important because it gives you an opportunity to then be able to decide what it is you want to do and how you're going to do it and what skills you're going to acquire in the off-season ready for the next season. Alright, okay, so enjoy the chapter. I hope the resources in here are going to be really useful to you. I know they're very useful to me. So yeah, that's it, and talk to you again soon. Thanks, bye.